The last thing that I think we have to really solve soon is probably investing in technology as the supplemental poll list. I think some of our judges just didn't find it.
No, it was
and
out there.
just lost them.
Yeah.
That'll be part of the recommendation, because where the judges only had a map of their own precinct, it would have been really helpful in a lot of cases to be able to tell the people to the east or the west or the north or the south where exactly they go.
They did, every polling place though, had a map of the ward and a map of the precinct, showing how it was split. We had more split precincts than we had. Gary, how many split precincts did we have? 400? 700?
700.
Yeah. You know, where we've always been around 200 split precincts.
That was crazy.
So
that was crazy.
these are the, the judges didn't even know that they were in a split precinct after they got a mailing, a map. Kelly did classes on trained every single judge how to handle the split precinct. So these are the things that we have to look at. And we have to make it as just so you can just walk in and it's done for the judge for the election. So we're working.
Okay. All righty. Anything else for Mr. Goff?
Well, I would just like to say that despite, as you say, Mr. Chairman, the hiccups and some of these issues, every election we learn from the experience, and I think given a very, very difficult year administratively, Lance and the staff performed admirably. Sure, there's improvements that are always needed, but on an overall basis, very well done.
Yeah.
The staff did an excellent job.
Yes, they did. They worked very hard. Very hard. Okay, bless you. Kelly, Ms. Basie, anything else to add?
It was the busiest election I've ever had to go through, both leading up to it and election day.
Yeah.
We were so busy in here, our phones never, talk about the morning rush, there was never a lull. It was all day. And it was interesting, our post-election comments that we're getting. One judge had a comment about the cell phone judge and how, the cell phone judge should be required to have a smartphone so they can use the texting system. And I'm like, we never thought, we didn't think of it as an election day for us necessarily, for the judges to use. We asked the judge to have a phone, not necessarily a smartphone.
That's a great point. I actually talked to one of the kids who served as a student judge, and he had an iPad. And he immediately went to the state, used his own iPad, and immediately went to the state board site when ours went down, and everything was fine in his polling place, because he used his own iPad. So, to your point, yes.
It was just a busy day.
That's what you're going to see in every one of our polling places.
Okay. Jim, it's going to sum up your...
We'll be coming to you with a detailed report about what we saw, how we handled it, and the recommendations for the future as far as putting it on a secured cloud environment. And that will do a couple of things. That will allow us to handle more traffic flow, but also with just a phone call, we'll be able to increase the server capacity, or the equivalent of server capacity, fourfold with such a provider, so we can put it in an environment where we don't have to worry about configurations or anything else. Secondly, we're going to end having PDFs of sample ballots. It'll solve a couple of issues. We can provide a database that people can more easily print out and read. And also, it'll bring us, in that aspect, into full ADA compliance, because right now, screen readers that people who are visually impaired or blind use cannot read across a column. It'll read the ballot like president, judicial retention, state senator, or whatever. It'll try to read it across the entire document, so it doesn't understand the columns that are breaking. So this will make it more user-friendly for those who need whether to print it out and be able to read it, or if they're using a screen reader.
Okay, thank you all. We'll go to old business. voting equipment. Paige, anything for us today?
Good morning. Well, the election went very smoothly. We were at 98% precincts reported. Towards the end of the night, 11:30, by 10 o'clock, we were at 95% precincts reported, so everything went really well.
I thought, from a voting equipment standpoint, we had one of our best elections. I thought very few reports of equipment problems during the day, and the tabulation at night was just stellar. So, you could pass on that we appreciate, we didn't need them because we have you, of course, but we had the whole team from Dominion here, and we appreciate the attention that you guys give us.
Chairman, what's something else that we're really, the equipment was purchased in 2006.
Yeah.
And we were really surprised how it held up in early voting. It was constantly being pounded on.
Yeah.
We've only had a few that were out of calibration that we had to pull out of system and replace. So that really did work.
What did well in that, our cartridges, our paper, I mean, that held together.
It held together. And believe it or not, the safes, the Secret Service couldn't break into our safe
There we
at the
go.
early voting site.
That was,
So the safes work.
Safe work, great.
Lance and I received panic calls in the morning. They were doing the sweep and they didn't realize that the judges outside, when they had cleared the building, held the keys to that big blue box. So they were wondering what was in the big blue box, how did they get into it, and they were calling both Lance and me.
They were trying to break into it, they couldn't get into it.
They couldn't get in there. So we're at least defeating the Secret Service.
Excellent. Well, that's what Sandy
Awesome
promised,
attack.
right? Okay. Delivered, tested in the middle. All righty. I don't think there's anything on legislation today, is there, Mr. Scanlon?
No.
Okay. New business?
Mr. Chairman, just on
Yes.
legislation, are we going to consider either December or January meetings, whether we have any legislative program to recommend?
I'll try to put together a package for consideration of the December meetings.
And we, the staff would like to add some items to that also. We found out this last election is just not going to work, that we need to have some legislative help on it.
Okay.
A subject for further discussion at that time. In past years, on occasion, we retained a professional lobbyist to assist. Other years, we haven't. I don't think our track record, either with or without, has been very different, but depending on the nature of what we're recommending and how serious we think these issues are, maybe at least let's discuss again whether or not to retain lobbying assistance.
Just to let the board members know that, line item was taken out by the city. So if you're thinking about that, I need to find out how to get the funding.
Oh, all right, so,
Pulled out.
okay, well, I'm not sure that it's worth making an issue over that line.
I think we could have some scamming go down.
Yeah, I think we can find,
I think it's just,
I think the key will be finding sponsors from both parties that buy into what we want